Hi, I'm John Fitzgerald and welcome to this week's edition of Team Wealth Builders. I want to talk about China. It's the biggest news, not of the year or the decade, it's the biggest news of the century for Australia. We've just completed our a deal with one of China's top 50 property developers, and it's amazing news. They did a joint venture with us and took 50% of a deal. Why it's amazing is they're one of China's top 50 property developers, but they're bigger, twice as big as our biggest property developer. And I've said before, I said it back in 2011-12, that there's a trickle of Chinese coming and as soon as it's going to turn into a tsunami. We still haven't seen anything yet. 100 million Chinese a year travel abroad and less than 1%, only 700,000 land here. I mean, that's just nothing. Now that 100 million is due to increase to 200 million by 2020. And already the 700,000 that come here is our highest spending tourist dollar already. And it's only just a blip on their radar. They haven't even discovered Australia. But there's two really important things that have been announced in the last couple of months. And that is 2 casinos in Queensland, both funded by Chinese developers, Chinese interests, Chinese property syndicates. Now why this is significant is because these 2 casinos are 2 of Australia's biggest residential projects. The biggest residential project I know in Australia done at any one time was the Melbourne Casino. Now we have Barangaroo, and the Melbourne Casino was about $2 billion. Now we have the Sydney Casino, Barangaroo, circa $4-5 billion. The 2 in Queensland are $7.5 and $8 billion. Now that is significant with Chinese interests. That's going to open the floodgates to Chinese buying in Australia, but already we're seeing it. The floodgates haven't even opened, and today it's reported that they're buying 39, nearly 40% of all new product in Sydney and Melbourne. And the company that I dealt with, they want to do more than 1,000 sales into China and get as much product as they can. Why are Chinese buying? Chinese are buying for a couple of reasons. They want to get their money out of China because in China they feel that it may not be safe because their yuan, their dollar, is actually dropping in value. And it's dropping in value for a number of reasons, not worth me really going into at the moment, but it's dropping in value and they feel it will drop for a period of time. The other reason is because they can't actually buy property in China. They only get a lease on property from the government. So all property is owned by the government. And when I go over there and talk about freehold title, they're just amazed that you can buy property and own the title for it forever. They think it's just, and when you die, that title can be handed down, etc., etc. And they think that is absolutely amazing and better than having money in the bank because they absolutely love property. Now, you're seeing just a trickle of it coming in, but that's turning into a tsunami, and probably the most pertinent numbers I can give you on that is 2013, Australia sold about 550 properties per month to China. In 1 year, that's more than doubled to 1,200, over 1,200, so it's more than doubled. Now that's significant. If that trajectory continues, you've got the tsunami of all tsunamis. And I was around in the 1980s when the Japanese started buying in Australia, and that was significant, but it was corporate wealth. They were buying hotels and choice development sites. Now we have Chinese developers, but we have Chinese buyers, and it'll be 10 times bigger than the Japan acquisitions back in the 1980s. The most exciting thing I've ever seen in property, and I'm naturally a part of it. I have a Chinese desk in my within my office and Chinese staff, and then I spend a lot of time in China. We're dealing with their top 50 property development company, and a great bunch of guys, and very, very astute and very, very aggressive towards getting involved in Australia. So stay tuned for China, be a part of it, and watch this space because you're going to see property go up, but massively when the Chinese buyers take hold. Thanks for listening to me.